Welcome to Kiran Classroom. Dear students, today we start the class 9th biology. In this class, the first lesson is cell, its structure and functions. Before going to discuss the first lesson, we remember that in our previous class 8th we learned about a cell. So what is cell? Cell is the basic unit of life. All living organisms are made up of cells. Who discovered the cell? In 8th class, the second lesson we learn cell is discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665, where he find the cell. So he find the thin slice of the cork. He observed these cell in simple magnifying device. Later he found the microscopes. Before we going to know the cell and its structures, first of all we know how many types of microscopes. There is three types of microscope. One is simple microscope, compound microscope and electronic microscope. The simple microscope is used to enlarge the image of the cell or outer line or outer features of the cell. The second one is compound microscope. So through this compound microscope we saw nucleus, cell membrane or some other parts. Finally, the electronic microscope, it is very expensive microscope. Through this electronic microscope we see very minute cell organelles. So these microscopes we observe the cells. So when we are seeing this microscope, we observe the shape of the cell. Shape of the cell and parts of the cells and size of the cells. First of all, we talk about the parts. So in cells, we saw through optical microscope, we observe the cell wall and cell membrane, nucleus and chloroplast and mitochondria. These are the cell parts. Okay, next the shape of the cell. Cells are so many shapes when we through the microscope. Cells are branched and circular shape, biconic shape, irregular shape, oval shape, spherical and rectangular, etc. So many cells are shaped in this manner. Okay, next we talk about the size. Cells are very minute to huge. Some cells are we see only through microscope, some are seen with our eyes. So cells are classified into two groups mainly. One is unicellular organisms, second one is multicellular organisms. So unicellular means a single cell can perform all the functions of the cell. That's example amoeba or paramecium. Multicellular means a specific cell organelles perform a special functions in the organism. Example humans and trees. Trees are also a multicellular organisms. Next we will talk about typical cell. Scientists have been trying to observe the cells from plants and animals, draw some structure and make them. So typical cell is nothing but a model of the cell. Typical cells are unique features of the fertilized eggs. The typical cells have been very variety of parts. The basic components of the typical cells is a nucleus, cell membrane, cytoplasm. In typical cells, we saw all the cell organelles. The typical cells provides a way to study cells. So what is the common feature do you see in both cells? What is that? Nucleus and cytoplasm, mitochondria or Golgi. These are the common features in the both cells, plant and animal cell. So now we talk about the cell parts in the cell. The first one is cell membrane. Cell membrane or plasma membrane. Cell membrane is the outer covering of the animal cell. In plant, there is another membrane is known as cell wall. So we observe the cell membrane. It is an activity rheoleaf experiment. In this activity, we take the rheoleaf and tear it and take a small thin portion of the leaf and put on the slide and add few drops of water, and then under the microscope we will observe. So and what is the result? Before that we add some saturated solution. So to prepare the saturated solution, take 100 ml of water and add salt and stir it well. After that it is converted into saturated solution. So now add few drops of saturated solution on the portion of the rheoleaf layer. In what is the result after this experiment? The cells of the leaf or shrink of the cytoplasm along with the cell membrane. The cell membrane becomes separated from the cell wall. Okay, now what is the functions of the cell membrane? Cell membrane is a flexible. It is made up of lipids and proteins. Cell membrane is separate the cytoplasm from the external environment. So this is known as a plasma membrane. Cell membrane gives the shape of the cell and enclose the cytoplasm. So cell membrane plays a crucial role in the maintaining this balance of the cell. And then cell membrane allows the certain substance only. So this is called a selective permeable membrane. This is the cell membrane. The next one is cell wall. So this is the unique feature seen in plant cells. One of the major difference between the animal and plant cell is the cell wall. The cell wall is very tough but flexible porous layer, and it is also provide the protection against the mechanical and the osmotic stress to the plant. So mainly the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Okay. In next class we will discuss about nucleus and cytoplasm. Dear students, if you like this video, share and subscribe with your friends.